Let's start at the beginning. Sorry about the giant packet. In my next lab, I will shrink it down. Didn't have time for all that jazz for today. You have your semester exam study guide in your hands. If you are going to be exempt from the semester exam, the study guide is still a necessary part of your grade. I'm going to do it. There are 124 questions. I'm going to do it 124 points in the 30% category. 124 points in 30% category.
Good.
Now that sounds good, and there's even better news. I don't require lots of participation. I will in a second. Let me get all my words out. There are 124 questions. We're not going to have math workshops for the rest of the year. Maybe you are, because you are on my nerves. You're not going to have math workshops for the rest of the year. Instead, all we're going to do is go over answers to this. So today we're going to go over at least the first 10, and then tomorrow we're going to go over in the next little bit, and we're going to do them one day at a time. As long as Caitlin's paying attention during math workshop, she's going to have all the correct answers and get all her 124 points, and it's going to be great. All I'm going to do when I grade Will's is I'm going to flip through it. Did he cross off the ones I crossed off? Did he have the answers I had? Good for him, 124 points. Should be an easy, nice grade, but all depends on you paying attention.
This is the study guide.
This is the study guide. Well, review study guide to me, they're interchangeable. Okay, so this is it. Okay. Thank you, dear. If you are concerned about whether or not you are exempt, do not ask me. I refuse to look that up until Friday. Now, why do I refuse to look that up until Friday?
Because we still have stuff that are...
Yes. One, you're really on my nerves. I'm not looking it up until Friday because, one, you have a test on Friday, so I have time during your class where I could look up everybody and see this through and discuss it with you. Two, you do have a test Friday, so even if I do tell Caitlin on Friday, like, hey, you're exempt, that's still pending her actual how she does on that test. Now, her grade is still liable to change, so just because I say on Friday you are, that still depends on your grade. And then three, the reason most people want me to wait until Friday is because at the moment, a lot of people last week missed either the math workshop test or the completing the square / quadratic formula quiz. So you don't want me to type in that 0 at the moment. It will negatively affect your average. I am going to type in that 0s on Friday. If you've not fixed it by then, you're on my nerves, everyone. I'm going to type in those 0s on Friday. I'm going to consider that when I look at whether or not you're exempt. You want to have that 0 changed by Friday. Now, there are some in here who did both. I'm not willing to change anything on the math workshop test. God bless you. I don't understand if you didn't do well on that one. I don't understand that one. As for the completing the square, every group but one can have a point. As for completing the square and quadratic formula, if you did poorly on that quiz, which there are many in the room who did, there are some who I haven't even graded just because they were just awful looking. If you can get it together and take it by Friday, that's great. Otherwise, I will type in that -0 or pretty close to 0 score that it is on Friday. There are at least 3 in the room who would do well at a second chance because on the first 2 questions, there were 5 questions on this quiz. The first 2 questions said, solve by completing the square. And you know what they did? Quadratic formula. How can I give you points for completing the square if you didn't actually complete the square? I can't. So, if that was you and you just had a moment, that's fine. You need to come see me during 0 period at some point and fix it and get your life together. Otherwise, you think your grade is nice, it's about to go way down because I haven't typed in a bunch of that because I was trying to be nice. Okay, are there any questions about semester exam, study guide, or semester exam, or the 2 missing assessments?
What average is
A C.
Oh, no. But the...
Overall semester average of a C.
Oh, your semester average. It's not just the 9 weeks.
No, I'm not understanding what semester.
Good. Let's go.
I don't know. I'll have to check back into that. Miss Compton literally doesn't care about that at the moment. Too many other things in life. Like, too many other things. I tried to care about it early one year and, like, had to go back and recheck because all these U's became E's and over it. Let's start on number 1 and get through this. If you've been one of those playing on your phone the past few weeks and you think suddenly you're going to pull it off, you're not. You're not. You've got to get it together now. Okay, number 1 says a minus y squared plus 2y to the third. And they tell you specifically that a is 2 and that y is -3. So all they're really wanting you to do is plug in these numbers and chug out an answer. They're really paying attention to, can you keep up with your signs? Travis, I know you're saying words, but I don't know what they were. Negative what? Oh, yes, the answer is A. You can have your point, Travis. Sorry. 1 is still on my nerves. 5 squared plus 2 times negative 27, because negative 3 cubed is negative 27. You get 25 minus 54, which is negative 29, and Travis is correct. Now I'm going to work through these today since it was just putting your hands, literally just putting your hands. As for tomorrow, if they're easy ones, I'm just going to tell you the answer and move on to a more difficult one. That way we can move a little faster. Number 2 is what kind of problem? Would that be wise of you? So my suggestion... Oh, well, my suggestion would be, like, I think tonight I'm going to say go through 29. So my thought would be, it would be smart of me to go ahead and read through the problems through 29. But if you don't, it'll still be okay. It's just, if you're not taking the exam, you really just do your match my keys and get your points. It would be mostly for those who actually are taking the exam. Okay, number 2 is what kind of problem? It is. Abby Grace, you can have a point for that. It's absolute value. And no, Abby Grace for her previous thing. Jessica and Drea, a point for that. Okay, so it's an absolute value problem. And we've got to plug in C is negative 1 and D is 5. The answer, and you can have a point again, Travis, is D. So we have negative 3 minus 5 inside the bars. So we have a negative 8 inside the absolute value bars, which makes us positive 8. But there's that negative on the very outside the entire time. So there, again, it's just a sign thing. Can you keep up with your signs? Number 3 is a good problem for me to point out for the test. Not that this one's on the test, but just notice how tiny those exponents are. So it's 4m to the third minus 3m squared plus 2m minus 2. If Will saw this on the test and was like, hey, is that a 3 or a 2? That you want to ask me and get clarification about tiny things if you can't see. I totally understand that. Ask and I can help. If you don't ask, you might miss it, and then everything's going to be wrong. Yes, dear. It is B. You can have another point. Okay, when we plug in negative 1, negative 1 cubed is negative 1. But negative 1 squared is positive 1. So literally, can you keep up with that? 2 times negative 2 minus 4. We end up having negative 4 minus 3 minus 2 minus 2, negative 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It does end up being negative 11. They're really just wanting to check, do you understand negative 1 cubed is negative 1? Number 4, you can put a line through it. If there's one like that on the semester exam, I am going to tell you the answer. And the answer is not that complicated to figure out. Yes, dear. Grady, go ahead and tell me. It is A. Okay, so what you're supposed to do, let's look at it, and I'll tell you what you're supposed to do. But seriously, we haven't done one like that, so why would it suddenly be on the exam? They tell you they want to know the sum of the first 20, so we just plug in 20 for N.
We can't see your work.
Bless you, and you can have a point, everyone. So we would just do 20 times 21 divided by 2, and you end up getting 210, which is A. But there's not, we haven't done one like that. I don't know why that would be on the exam. Now here's the fun part. 5, 6, and the next couple are dealing with number systems. At the very beginning of the year, we talked about natural, whole, integer, rational, irrational, that kind of thing. Say it again, Travis. It is B. Number 5 is B. We actually recently discussed this. Very, very recently. On a math workshop, we were talking about if it's the square root of a number, and that number is not a perfect square, then it's irrational. But as long as it's a perfect square, it's rational. So the only perfect square on the screen is B. It's okay if you didn't remember that, though. Bless you. There was something else instead we were going to remember. So, irrational, we were looking for two things. Can you tell me what those two things were? Non-something and non-something. So, a number is irrational if it's this or this. 2 points. Point for you, Travis. Okay, so non-terminating, meaning it doesn't have a set end. So I know it's not B because B terminates, has that clear ending. Repeating is like 257, 257, 257, so we know it's not C. My gut said to go with A, but I used to check A first. I put it in my calculator. 27 divided by 5 is actually 5.4. That terminates. So I thought it was going to be A, but that actually ends up terminating. So the answer is D. The 2573 ... implies it keeps going, but we don't know what to keep going to. But I was tempted to put A as well. I would have typed it in my calculator. Okay, let's flip to number 7. It's on the next page. Is it what answer there? It is. You can have another point, Travis. Okay, negative 28. There is one bad answer on the screen on number 7. What is the one bad answer? Yes, the one bad answer is B, because negative 28 is definitely not a natural number. So don't pick that one. Now, negative 28 is clearly an integer, but hey, that's an A, C, and D. Now, it is a rational number. It's not got this, it's not repeating, it's not non-terminating, so we knew for sure it was rational. But again, all the numbers we've discussed, or were discussing back then, were real numbers. We just recently encountered the world of non-real with imaginary and complex numbers. I don't see any eyes, so it's okay. It's a real number. Yes, remember I? Okay, number 8 is not C. I don't think. No. Number 8, if I distribute that 1/2, I get, go ahead, Travis. No? Okay, you're making me worry. I distribute the 1/2, I get 4y minus 5z. If I distribute that negative sign, I get negative 3y minus z. 3 gets the point. Oh, 6 gets the point. It was 6. 6 is the point.
It was 1.
Oh, it was back there. 4 minus 3 is positive 1y. Negative 5 minus 1 is negative 6z. It's A. It's A. Can we combine those like terms? Okay. Number 9, we get to the fun stuff, which I mean very sarcastically. I never enjoyed verbal expressions. Number 9, they gave you the verbal expression twice the sum of a number and 8. So what is the answer on number 9? Man, it is C, grade point. Again, my trick is always to find a number, because you know that means the variable. It says sum of a number and 8. So n plus 8. And it says twice that sum, so 2 times n plus 8. Yes, dear. Yes, go ahead. Number 10 is D. Sorry, Brady, I'm being slow. It says 5 increased by 7 times a number. So a number times 7, 7 times a number. Increased by 5, add 5. So the answer to number 10 is D. 11 is A, get a point. 11, if you distribute the 3, you've got 15x minus 3 equals 3x plus 3. If I subtract 3x, we'll have 12x minus 3 equals 3. So 12x equals 6, so x equals 6 over 12, but you and I both know that fraction reduces to 1/2. I know they're really on it. No other class reason this on it. 12 is the last one we're going to do today, and it's also my favorite of the day. My favorite of the day. If I don't make the final exam, I do enough in life, trust me, but if I were to make the final exam, I would put one line number 12 on there.
We don't have final exams.
You do. I just didn't make it.
Oh.
I make enough in life. Yes, dear. No.
I have a question.
Yes, I have an answer.
If I leave school for like a field trip, does that count against me?
I don't believe so, but please, Andrew, don't make me do this world now. I just can't. I will cry on you so bad. I just can't. Okay, number 12 is not A and it's not B, and you're breaking my heart right now. It's C. Why?
Because you plus 5 and minus 5. Yeah.
No, that's not a point. No.
Yeah.
Not a point.
I don't like that explanation, so I'm not gonna. Okay, but you understand. Like, I don't like it. Okay, I wrote this on like 50,000 papers when we did this. Absolute values, abs-val, has 2 answers. The reason an absolute value problem has 2 answers is literally because of the bars. So we're not sure the inside junk, the x minus 5. We're not sure if that inside junk was equal to positive 4, or if that inside junk was equal to negative 4. We're not sure. We have to consider both scenarios. The bars made it positive. Before those bars came into existence, was the inside part equal to positive 4, or was the inside part equal to negative 4? And that's how we get 9 and 1. And of course, they're going to have just 9, just 1, 9 and 1. So they've tricked you, which they were trying to do. If I wanted to get letter choice D, what would my problem look like?
Outside was a negative.
3 and 4 get a point. So if it was x minus 5 in the bars equal, like with the bars equal to negative 4, you know an absolute value can't, with the bars, that's not possible. So the only way to get D is if this were the case in pink. Yes, Travis. No. No. Literally doesn't. That's a good question. Okay, are there any questions about 1 through 12? We worked through all of these, so it took some time. We're flying faster tomorrow. Our goal is 29. Our goal is 29. Okay, while you're thinking about that, get out your notes from 2 weeks ago. We never finished them. Get them out. Let's talk about things that are missing. Yes. Okay. I don't really understand how that got you distracted. I need you to get back on track. 2 weeks ago, well, and in the beginning of last week, we were talking about completing the square in the quadratic formula. The very first page of your notes is page 21. You should have that done because, hey, guess what? I did that during class. 2 different days, I helped you with that. What I haven't seen from a lot of people is on the next page, page 22. You were assigned 1 through 5. Heck, I gave you the answers. And most people haven't shown me that. I've typed in the 0, but I'm willing to fix it. Most people haven't showed me page 22.
Can you keep it up there?
Oh, yeah, I'll put it back up when I get done rambling.
Well, what packet is this?
It says completing the square at the top. Okay. So I'm missing a lot of page 22, but flip to the next page, page 23. I'm missing a whole lot of page 23. And I understand why, because we did it on a Friday, And then we came back on Monday and you tested, and forgot to show me, and that's fine. But we need to fix it. I haven't seen most people's page 23. Did you do those 5 problems on the quadratic formula? If no, have it done by the end of the week and show it to me. It's fine. Okay. Now go on to the next page. Page 25 is where we're going to be today. You don't have it?
Is there one back there?
No, it's probably one in the bucket. You should have it. We did it 2 weeks ago. Let's see. It would be in last 2 weeks ago on a Wednesday, so it would be, Andrew, if I had to guess, I would say the 15th. 15th. If I had to guess.
I need 7 and 9 on page 22.
Here.
You're right.
Okay, if you don't have a packet, see Andrew. But again, I swear you have it somewhere because it's on the I know it's okay. It says completing the square at the top.
He had the packet.
Okay.
Most of it done.
Okay. Do you need it? Yeah, she
Game
does.
is coming. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Now that we all have notes. Okay, so far for this next test, the test that I'm telling you is going to be on Friday, we've done completing the square and quadratic formula. So completing the square and quadratic formula are on the next test. There are problems that say you must complete the square, and just like you missed the points on the quiz if you didn't complete the square, you're going to miss the points on the test if you don't complete the square. And then there's quadratic formula. The last section is what we're going to talk about the next couple days. It's actually, in my mind, easier than completing the square and quadratic formula. But I'm kind of going to use completing the square to do it. So if you tuned out during completing the square, hopefully this helps. If not, goodness, the test on Friday is going to hurt. Okay, it's been a while, but we've been talking about parabolas. If we're looking at a quadratic equation, that means that the highest exponent is a 2 inside our equation. We spent weeks on graphing it. All these words should be pretty familiar. Today we're going to talk about something called vertex form. If you want to circle it, you can. We're going to need to find the vertex. It says in the directions, find the vertex. Find that axis of symmetry. They want you to determine the shape. And they want you to determine the direction in which it opens. So we're going to do 4 things. The vertex, the axis of symmetry, the shape, and the direction in which it opens. We can already fill in one of these 4 things. Does my parabola open up or down? How do you know? You can have a point. We know it opens up because it's a positive 1x squared. Okay, but I'm never taking this away from you. So even though I'm going to show you what you need to do today, Jerica can still always check herself with the graphing calculator. She knows how to find the vertex and the axis of symmetry with the graphing calculator. She can still do that and check to make sure she has the right answer. No one's taking the graph calculator away. You can always check with the graphing calculator. Okay, but technically today it says we need to put the function in vertex form. And in order to do so, I think the easiest thing to do is to kind of complete the square. We've actually seen vertex form before. We were talking about a different kind of graph. I'll give you 2 points if you can recall what kind of graph. So we've talked about vertex and vertex form before. We were talking about a different kind of graph. I'll let you think about it, but I'll give you 2 points if you can tell me what kind of graph. No. Okay, we'll come back to that. we're on parabolas now. Okay, so we'll come back to that. Let's continue on. So remember with completing the square, like I know it's x squared plus 4x plus some number. I don't want to deal with the 6, but instead of subtracting 6 from both sides now, that darn y on our left is kind of in our way. So I'm just going to leave the 6 on the right, but I'm going to keep him outside the parentheses. He's not part of me completing the square, so I'm going to leave him outside the parentheses. Now, last week and the week before when you and I were completing the square, what I would normally do is if I added by 3 on this side, I would subtract by 3 on the other side. That way, or added by 3 on both sides. That way it would counteract, right? You know, if you add 3 on the left and add 3 on the right, it's okay. Today we're going to kind of do the opposite of that. I already said it out loud. I didn't mean to. You know when that happens. I hate when that happens. We're going to subtract. So like if I decide to complete the square, I need to add by 3. If I subtract by 3, 3 minus 3 is 0. So really I'm adding 0. So I haven't changed anything. So if I decide to add 10, then I also subtract by 10. Well, 10 minus 10 is 0. So really I've not changed anything. So as long as whatever we add by, we subtract by it, it's going to be okay. Okay, so when we were completing the square, you would take the middle and do what? Point for you. So again, remember it was middle divided by 2 and then squared. So our middle was a 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4. Does everyone understand where the pink came from? I'll say it again. Middle was 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4. Middle divided by 2 squared. Okay, but since I'm adding 4 in order to complete the square, I'm also going to subtract by 4. So I have plus 6 minus 4, and I get a plus 2. Does everyone understand?
Could you send Demetrius Maynard to student services, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Does everyone understand where the plus 2 in black came from? I'm literally adding 6 minus 4. Okay, well then we're done. We have it in vertex form now. So we put it in this form, and we should, from here, be able to identify the vertex, the axis of symmetry, and the shape. We did this with, does anyone remember what kind of function? Okay, I'm going to ruin your day. Absolute value. We did this with absolute value functions. And there was a trick when you identified the vertex. That plus 2, did that actually mean up to or down to? It really meant up to. It was not deceiving. But remember the inside one, the one inside the parentheses, or it used to be inside the absolute value bars, was deceiving. The plus 2 you would think right to, but really it was left to. So just a reminder, this one is the opposite sign. Yes, that is a 2, a positive 2. But this one, the first coordinate, the x coordinate, ends up being the opposite sign. And if you're thinking I'm crazy, if you look up at that top form, it says x minus h. So it makes sense that it's like an x minus a negative 2. The x coordinate is always the opposite sign. And we did this a lot with absolute value. And this applies not just to absolute value in quadratic, but it applies to any kind of function. If you put it in vertex form, the x coordinate is the opposite, the y coordinate remains the same. Okay, do not make me cry today. Second period made me cry. Well, not literally cry, although I could. What's the axis of symmetry? I know my vertex. What is my axis of symmetry? Y. That's right, but why?
It goes like right down the middle.
Yes. Why is it negative 2?
That's where it's the
Okay, 2 can have a point, but I'm still kind of sad. The x-coordinate of the vertex is the axis of symmetry. They match for a reason. They're supposed to match. X-coordinate of the vertex, axis of symmetry, same thing. Because if you recall, so we have some sort of parabola. Its min is at negative 2, 2. And like Xavier's saying, if we were to cut it in half, we would be cutting down that negative 2. Okay, shape is the one we've not discussed, so it's okay if you want to put a star by it. We discussed it with absolute value, but not with parabolas. It's just not come up lately. By shape, they're meaning, am I stretched or shrunk? And when you and I did this with absolute value, we called it fat or skinny. So remember, absolute value was a V. And if there was a certain kind of number out front, it would make me skinny. And if there was a certain kind of number out front, it would make me really fat. Fractions make you fat, so you get another point. Okay, the same thing happens with parabolas. I'm a U now, but if there's a fraction out front, I'm a really fat U. And if there's a whole number out front, I'm a really skinny U. But right now, our number out front is a 1. All right, now, meaning this number out here. It's a 1. So my shape isn't really changing. So, meaning like, you know, originally I was this U and I lived at 0, 0. And yes, I've moved to negative 2, 2, but I'm not skinnier, I'm not fatter, I've stayed the same. So it's okay if you don't want to list shape on number 1. What problem looks easiest next? And we're going to go to 3. 4, get a point. Go to number 3. We need to know the vertex, the axis of symmetry, the shape, and the direction. I already know the direction is up because it's a positive 1 out front. When I try to complete the square, I have x squared plus 2x plus something. Yes, dear. And when I add 7, I'm going to subtract whatever that something is. Let me zoom in on that. So x squared plus 2x plus something. But I'm going to subtract that something from 7 as well. Okay, I'm going to take that middle divided by 2 and square it. So middle is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. Does everyone understand where I got the green from? Middle divided by 2 squared. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. Okay, but I added 1, so I've subtracted by 1 too. 7 minus 1 is 6. So that's it in vertex form. So my vertex is at negative 1 comma 6, because it's the opposite side of x. My axis of symmetry is negative 1, and again, it's okay if you just want to kind of cross out shape, because I'm not getting any fatter or any skinnier, because there's a 1 out front here. Are there any questions about number 3? You what? Yeah. Yeah, a couple of these. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. What does number 2 look harder? Yes, 3 and 4 get a point because of that leading coefficient of a 2. When we were doing completing the square, what would we do with the 2? Divide everybody by 2. Wasn't that a giant pain in the rear?
Yes.
We're not doing that today. Here's an easier way with vertex form, thankfully. Okay, vertex, axis of symmetry, shape, and again, I know my direction is up because that is a positive 2 in front. Okay, I'm still thinking about 2x squared minus 12x plus something. And whatever that something is, I'm going to subtract it from 17. I got to figure out what to give them to complete the square. And whatever that number is, I got to subtract it from 17. And this is the part you thought you were dreading. But we're going to handle it a little differently than we were before. If the something we choose. So I'm choosing it, so I'm going to make sure it works out. Is there a GCF between 2x squared and negative 12x? Don't tell me x, I want the number. 2. Let's factor out a 2. 2 and, who was the other one? I thought so. 2 and 4 gets a point. Okay, so I factor out a 2. I'm left with x squared minus 6x plus something. I know I should bring down my plus 17 minus squiggle. I know that. I'm not going to. I'm getting lazy, okay? I will come back and deal with that in a moment. And you're like, Miss Compton, how can you do this? You don't know that something's divisible by 2. You're right, I don't. I pick it though. So when I pick it, I gotta make sure it's a 20, it's an 18, it's not 19. It's gotta be divisible by 2. Okay, but from here it's easy. Because middle divided by 2 squared, my middle's negative 6. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. Negative 3 squared is positive 9. So you get a point. Does everyone else understand where the pink came from? Middle divided by 2. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. Negative 3 squared is positive 9. Are there any questions about the pink? Do what, dear? We're not done yet. Okay, so our Grace is like me. She wants to just finish it through. So she's back on the top line. She's trying to put plus 9 and minus 9. And she's mad at me because 9 is not divisible by 2. That, I mean, it's genius of her to try to think all the way through. But didn't you and I factor a 2 out of everything? So don't I need to give that 2 back? So if we're reading it backwards and we're looking up the line above, 2 times x squared, that gave us the 2x squared. 2 times negative 6, that's how we got the negative 12x. So originally, I must have had an 18 because 2 times 9 is 18. Again, you and I factored a 2 out of everybody. So back on that top line, I better give that last term the 2 back. So 2 times 9 is 18. So instead of adding and subtracting 9 to both sides, I need to add and subtract 18. And this is why Miss Compton was lazy, because I know 17 minus 18 is negative 1. So I just write negative 1 for the last bit, the rest of the way down. Makes my life easier. So I figure it out on the top line, and then just write the number from then on out. But I couldn't figure out the top line until I had finished it. Yes, dear.
Divide it by 2, square it, and then divide it by 2. So negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. Squared equals 36 divided by 2 is 18.
Divided by 2. Square it. It's not normal the next one. Literally only work because that's the 2 out front. Alright. Okay, so we got it in vertex form, yippee for us. So our vertex is at opposite sign 3, negative 1. Because it was a negative 3, so we're going to put positive 3. Our axis of symmetry is a positive 3. And then for once, we can put something about the shape. What is that 2? This 2 over here, what is it doing to my shape? It's making me skinny. So you can put skinnier, skinny, I don't care. I don't put if you want to put stretched if you're trying to be more mathematical.
How do you know when you're skinny?
Because if it is a whole number out front, like the 2, it makes me skinny. If it was a fraction out front, like a 1/2, it would make me fat. We talked, you missed it. We had this whole thing on fractions make you fat. Since it's not a fraction, it's making me skinny. And to be honest, completely honest, all the ones I know that I've picked that we're doing like this are always going to be skinny because we're always going to pull out a whole number. We're factoring out a fraction. Whew, you're making this problem really complicated. They could have just graphed it on my calculator to begin with. Okay, number 4 is where this actually seems useful. That sounds terrible to say. Not that identifying the vertex isn't useful in general, but you and I were pretty good at graphing it on our calculator and figuring all this stuff out with the graphing calculator. So why did we really need this form? And number 4 is where it clears that up. Okay, so number 4, we need to know the vertex, the axis of symmetry, the shape, and the direction. This is the first one that I get to put what word? 4 gets blanks. I get to put down because of that negative 4 on the outside. The first thing is negative 4, so my parabola is a sad face. It's going down. Okay, I was a little concerned when I saw that negative 4. I did negative 4x squared minus 24x plus something minus 15 minus something. Because I added it here, I'm going to subtract it there. I just got to figure out what that something is. I was thinking about a GCF to pull out in the black parentheses. You're so close. It's -4. Every group can have a point. It's -4. If we factored out a -4, we would be left with x squared plus 6x plus something. And again, I'm going to wait on the end part. I know there's a 15 and a squiggle. I'm just going to leave it be for now. Say it again, Landon. The reason I did a -4 is literally so it'll be a +1 in front. You and I both know we like it to be a 1x squared. At the end, yes, we're going to have some sign issues, yes. Okay. So middle divided by 2 squared. So my middle is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 squared is 9. Are there any questions about how I got the pink? Pretty, I know you can do it fancy. Save it. You can tell me in a second. Let me finish the regular. You know what I'm going to say. Okay. Are there any questions about the pink? Middle divided by 2 squared. Okay, but we didn't, yes, it's a 9, but I'm not going to add 9 and subtract 9. What am I going to add? Yeah, it's going to be a -36. And why is that? Again, if we were to go back and distribute, because we factored out the -4, I actually have to do -4 times 9, and it's -36. Which is what Landon was asking about for using no point. Which is what Landon was asking about with the signs. Yes, it's -15 minus a -36 is a +36. I agree. And so it ends up being a +21. Yes, Dre, you can have a point. And so for the first time, maybe vertex form was useful because it would have been hard to see a parabola with a vertex of -3, 21 on our normal screen. We would have had a super zoom for that. So maybe for once this was useful. The axis symmetry is -3. And my shape is still skinny. Or stretched. I get it's a -4, but regardless, the 4, my parabola used to be fat. Or fatter. And now that -4 is kind of stretching me out and making me a little skinnier.
You gotta write straight.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can put skinny or stretch. Either one works. And again, never on my life am I going to take Xavier's graphing calculator away from him. So if he's questioning, hey, I put stretched, or I put skinny, or I put the vertexes here, and I'm not sure. Oh, why don't you check with the graphing calculator? We spent a lot of time on how to do that in the graphing calculator. Why not check that way? You got to admit this is a little easier than what we've been doing. Well, pending. Did you actually pay attention to completing the square? If not, then you're pretty without a title. Are there any questions about this? You have 3 workbook problems you ought to work on. You know you also have problems from last week, the 20